Hi, my name is Roskeren Estrada, and today I am going to read a journal of the Black Year by Daniel Defoe. And it was about the beginning of September 1664 that I, among the rest of my neighbors, heard in ordinary discourse that the plague was returned again in Holland, for it had been very violent there, and particularly at Amsterdam and Rotterdam, in the year 1663. Why, they say, it was brought, some said from Italy, others from the Levant, among some goods which were brought home by their Turkey fleet. Others said it was brought from Candia, others from Cyprus. It mattered not from whence it came, but all agreed it was coming to Holland again. We had no such thing as printed newspapers in those days to spread rumors and reports of things, and to improve them by the invention of men, as I have lived to see practiced since. But such things as these were gathered from the letters of merchants and others who corresponded abroad, and from them was handed about by word of mouth only, so that things did not spread instantly over the whole nation, as they do now. But it seems that the government had a true account of it, and several councils were held about ways to prevent its coming over, but all was kept very private. Hence it was that this rumor died off again, and people began to forget it as a thing we were very little concerned in, and that we hoped was not true, till the latter of November or the beginning of December 1664, when two men said to be Frenchmen died of the plague in Long Acre, or rather at the upper end of Drury Lane. The family they were endeavored to conceal it as much as possible, but as it had gotten some bent in the discourse of the neighborhood, the secretaries of state got knowledge of it, and concerning themselves to inquire about it, in order to be certain of the truth. Two physicians and a surgeon were ordered to go to the house and make inspection. This they did, and finding evident tokens of the sickness upon both the bodies that were dead, they gave their opinions publicly that they died of the plague, whereupon it was given in to the parish clerk, and he also returned them to the hall, and it was printed in the weekly bill of mortality in the usual manner thus: Plague 2 parishes infected 1. The people showed a great concern at this, and began to be alarmed all over the town, and the more because in the last week in December 1664 another man died in the same house, and of the same distemper. And then we were easy again for about 6 weeks, when none having died with any marks of infection, it was said that the December was gone. But after that, I think it was about the 12th of February, another died in another house, but in the same parish and in the same manner. This turned the people's eyes pretty much towards that end of the town, and the weekly bill showing an increase of burials in St. Giles parish more than usual. It began to be suspected that the plague was among the people at the end of the town, and that many had died of it, though they had taken care to keep it as much from the knowledge of the public as possible. This possessed the heads of the people very much, and few cared to go through Drury Lane or the other streets suspected, unless they had extraordinary business that obliged them to it. But this nature. Every night in the year, 4 of us sat in the small parlor of the George at Debenham, the undertaker and the landlord, and Fitz and myself. Sometimes there will be more, but blow high, blow low, come rain or snow, or an old drunken Scotchman, a man of education, obviously, and a man of some property, since he lived in illness. He had come to Devonman years ago, while still young, and by a mere continuance of living had grown to be an adopted townsman. His blue camlet clock was a local antiquity. Like the church spire, his place in the parlor at the George, his absence from church, his old, scrupulous, disreputable vices were all things of course in Debenham. He had some vague, radical opinions and some fleeting infidelities which he would now and again set forth and emphasize while with tottering slaps upon the table. He drank rum 5 glasses regularly every evening, and for the greater portion of his nightly visit to the George sat with his glass in his right hand in the state of melancholy alcoholic saturation. We called him the doctor, for he was supposed to have some special knowledge of medicine, and had been known upon a pinch to set a fracture or reduce a dislocation. But beyond these slight particulars, we had no knowledge of his character and antecedents. One dark winter night, it had struck nines of some time before the landlord joined us. There was a sick man in the George. A great neighboring proprietor suddenly struck down with apoplexy on his way to Parliament. And the great man's still greater London doctor had been telegraphed to his bedside. It was the first time that such a thing had happened in Debenham, for the railway was but newly opened, and we were all proportionately moved by the occurrence. "He's come," said the landlord, after he had filled and lighted his pipe. "He," said I. "Who? Not the doctor?" "Himself," replied our host. What is his name?" "Dr. Macfarlane," said the landlord. Fetch was far through his third tumbler, stupidly fuddled, now nodding over, now staring vaguely around him, but at the last word he seemed to awaken, and repeated the name Macfarlane twice, quietly enough the first time, but with sudden emotion at the second. "Yes," said the landlord, "that's his name, Dr. Wolfe Macfarlane." Fitz became instantly sober. His eyes awoke, his voice became clear, loud, and steady, his language forcible and earnest. We were all startled by the transformation, as if a man had risen from the dead. "I beg your pardon," he said. "I'm afraid I have not been paying much attention to your talk. Who is this Wolfe Macfarlane?" And then, when he had heard the landlord out, it cannot be," he added. "And yet I would like well to see him face to face." "Do you know him, doctor?" asked the undertaker with a gasp. "God forbid," was the reply, "and yet the same name is a strange one. It were too much fancy to tell me, landlord. Is he old?" "Well," said the host, "he is not a young man, to be sure, and his hair is white, but he looks younger than you."